Many years ago, in the vibrant heart of Nigeria, two high school sweethearts, Chisom and Amika, dreamed of building a beautiful life together. They had met at a young age, bonded by their humble backgrounds and shared determination to rise above the odds. Their bond only grew stronger when they both got admitted to the University of Meridian. Chisom studied law, and Amika pursued a degree in medicine. Life was anything but easy. While their peers appeared to glide through university, Chisom was fighting silent battles every day. After lectures, she would roam from dormitory to dormitory selling small chops just to make ends meet. Business was often poor, and most evenings she would return to her small hostel room to eat the unsold leftovers. Not because she wanted to, but because it was all she had. At a part where she was really pretty. Many men want her in university, but she ignored them all for Amika. But Chisom wasn't just fending for herself. She was supporting her mother, who suffered from high blood pressure, and also helping her own siblings through nursing school. As the firstborn daughter in her family, rest was a luxury she could never afford. She was the pillar everyone leaned on, and though the weight was crushing, she carried it with grace. Amika's life, in contrast, was less burdened but still difficult. He was the youngest of four boys, and his mother sold amala at the local market. Unlike his older siblings, who had struggled academically and financially, Emeka was seen as the family's only hope. After graduation, they both faced a grim reality. There were no jobs waiting, but Chisom, ever the optimist, believed they could build something together from scratch, just as they had always dreamed. Her prayers were partly answered when, after completing her NYSC, she landed a job at one of the top law firms in the country as a personal assistant. Her salary was 80,000 naira, not much by big city standards, but for a young woman from a humble background, it was a lifeline. She drew up a strict budget, dividing the money for transport, food, rent, family needs, and most importantly, savings. But love makes room, even in tight spaces. Every month, Chisom would set aside a portion of her earnings, tuck it in a small envelope, cook Amika's favorite meal, jollof rice with turkey, and walk over to his apartment to surprise him. One evening, as she handed him the money and dished out the food, she smiled and said softly, "My love, I know things are not going on well for you, but I want you to know I'll always be your biggest supporter. Trust me, something good will come your way soon. You'll get a job. I believe in you." Emeka didn't interrupt her. He simply smiled, enjoying the meal she prepared and the comfort she brought. "See, Chisom," he said, "I'm never going to leave your side. When the money starts flowing, I'll take care of you. I'll buy you the whole world. Thank you for always treating me like a prince." Those words meant everything to Chisom. Seeing him happy was enough to brighten her world, and she truly believed he would never betray her. She had no idea she was nurturing the seeds of her own heartbreak. One Sunday afternoon, fresh from church and looking forward to a quiet evening of movies and rest, Chisom received a call from Amika. There was no, "I miss you, babe," or "How's your day been?" Just a direct request. "Can you buy me some groceries? And don't forget, jollof with turkey. You know how I like it." Staring at her phone in disbelief, Chisom replied, "But Amika, I just got home. I was hoping to finally relax today." "Oh, that's nice," he said casually. "Welcome then. But I haven't eaten all day, and you know I need to stay strong. For us." Without hesitation, Chisom was out again. She bought groceries, bought 3 different meals, and delivered them to his house. "You're really God sent, Chisom," Amika said as he accepted the food. "I honestly don't know what I'd do without you." "Thank you, my love," she replied. "On my way to the store, I saw a flyer. A construction company is hiring workers. Why don't you start there? It might be a good stepping stone until something better comes." But Amika laughed, almost mockingly. "Me? Carry cement under this hot sun? Do you want my friends to laugh at me? A whole doctor like me? I didn't suffer through med school just to ruin my skin." Chisom sat in stunned silence. "But you can't just sit inside all day and expect the job to come to you. We're not getting any younger, Amaka. We need to plan for the future." Trying to keep a smile on her phone, Emeka took a sip from his drink, unfazed. "Life is not a race, Chisom. I'm the last born. I deserve a soft life. I didn't hustle in school just to end up as a laborer." With that, he walked out of the room, sipping his drink like a man with 10 job offers, waiting and millions in the bank. Chisholm sat alone, confused and heartbroken, whispering a quiet prayer. God, I love this man too much. Just give him some sense of responsibility and a job. But despite everything, she didn't stop caring. Every weekend, she withdrew more money, cooked his favorite food again, and stocked his fridge, not knowing she was investing in a man who had no intention of taking her along in his future. One Friday night, Emeka went out clubbing with his close friend Emmanuel. They were eating kebab and drinking wine when Emmanuel showed him pictures of some of their old classmates living in Canada and the US, living the soft life and flooding social media with smiles. Ah, my guy, Emeka exclaimed. James is in Canada? That boy? I was smarter than him. This life no balance, oh. Shocking, right? Emmanuel replied. Life is really moving fast. I'm even planning to travel too. Nothing's working here in Nigeria. This country will kill your dreams. What? You too? You want to leave me here? Emeka's voice turned urgent. No, you have to show me the way. Who's helping you? Help me too. Emmanuel smirked. I'll help, but it's expensive. I'm still paying mine. Emeka paused, thinking. He had no savings, no job, but he did have Chisholm, his God sent. He just had to find the right words. Don't worry about the money, he said. I know someone who can help. Just give me the details. The next morning, bright and early, before Chisholm could even wake, Emeka called her. His voice was unusually sweet. Hey, babe, good morning. I have a surprise for you. Come over tonight. Chisholm's heart fluttered. This was the first time Emeka had done anything thoughtful. She spent the day smiling, practically dancing at work, completely unaware of what awaited her. That evening, Emeka had set a small table with food from a cheap restaurant and bought her a new pair of sneakers. As Chisholm walked in, she was touched. What's the occasion? She asked, laughing gently. Just sit down, babe, he said, pulling out a paper from his pocket. Chisholm's heart skipped. She thought it was a ring, but it wasn't. It was a list of expenses. Her smile faded. What's this? She asked. You've always wanted me to take charge of my life. I want to travel abroad. Emmanuel showed me a way. There's opportunity there, and I want to go. That's amazing, Emeka, she replied. You know that's all I've ever wanted for you. But I need your help. It's too expensive. How much? Chisholm asked, already feeling a knot form in her chest. 10 million naira. 10 million naira? She repeated. Where are you expecting to get that from? He knelt down and held her hands. Please, babe, I don't have anyone else. You're my only hope. I swear, once I get there, I'll work hard, save, and come back for you. I'll open a big shop for you and you the mother of my children. Just this one last push, please. Chisholm exhaled slowly. It was overwhelming, but these were the words she had longed to hear for years. That night she couldn't sleep. She wanted her man to succeed. By the weekend, she was researching, making calls and preparing documents with Emmanuel's help. Tickets, passport renewal, visa process. At work, she confided in her best friend Grace. Chisholm, Grace warned, please think twice. This is how some of these boys operate. Once they get abroad, they ghost you. I've seen it happen. Don't fall in that trap. The warning planted a seed of doubt, but Chisholm quickly brushed it off. No, Emeka's not like that. He'd never betray me. He's different. I'm just trying to warn you, Grace said. A week later, she did the unthinkable. She walked into the finance department at a bank and requested a loan of 8 million naira. Madam, the banker asked, looking concerned, are you sure you're in the right frame of mind? We can give you time to think about this. No, sir, Chisholm replied firmly. I know what I'm doing. I'm investing in my business. Deduct it from my salary monthly. Shortly, the loan was approved, but deep down, something in her spirit trembled. But this decision, made out of love, would soon become the biggest regret of her life. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind for Chisholm. Between working long hours at the law firm, caring for her family, and making daily calls to immigration consultants, she hardly slept. Every extra kobo she had went into Emeka's travel plans. Her account balance thinned out, her body grew tired, and her stress levels climbed. But her hope remained. She believed in Emeka more than herself. She believed that once he got to Canada, He'd find work, start a life, and then send for her, just like he promised. They booked his flight for mid-September. The week before his departure, Chisholm took time off work to make sure everything was perfect. She ironed his clothes, packed his bags, bought new winter jackets, sneakers, toiletries, even snacks for the journey. She took him for one last dinner at a quiet restaurant, and when they returned home, Chisholm double-checked his travel documents. They had agreed to keep it simple. No emotional farewells, just smiles and faith in the future. By 9 p.m., they sat on the floor of his apartment, watching one of their favorite Nigerian rom-coms on his laptop. A bowl of jollof rice, fried turkey, and a bottle of red wine sat between them. Laughter echoed through the room as they teased each other, joked about the cold Canadian weather, and imagined what their future would look like a year from now. It had been a long time since they'd shared a night so lighthearted, without stress, without struggle. But as the movie ended and silence settled between them, their eyes met. One moment turned into another. Their hands touched, and soon the comfort of the moment melted into intimacy. In that dimly lit room, with whispers of, "I love you," and gentle promises, they made love, slow and emotional. It wasn't just passion. For Chisholm, it was confirmation that this was their beginning, not the end. Afterwards, as she lay with her head on his chest, Emeka wrapped his arm around her and said softly, "This is not goodbye, babe. This is just the beginning of our story. Give me 1 year, just one. When I come back, I'll marry you. You'll be my wife. You'll see." Chisholm smiled and nodded, her heart full. She believed every word. She had no reason not to. She handed him an envelope filled with leftover cash, just in case he needed something on arrival. On the day of his flight, she stood with him at the airport gate, clutching his hands tightly. "Promise me, Emeka," she whispered. "Promise me you won't forget me when you get there." Emeka smiled, leaned in, and kissed her forehead. "Chisholm, I swear on my life, you're the only one for me. In a year, I'll come back and marry you. I'm doing all of this for us." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she watched him walk through the gate. That day, she felt a bittersweet kind of joy, pain in letting go, but comforted by the belief that she had just helped secure their future. For the first 2 weeks, Emeka called regularly. He sent pictures of the snowy streets of Toronto, his new apartment, shared with Emmanuel and another Nigerian, and even selfies from his English classes. "It's tough here, he told her. "Cold like freezer, but I'd push. Don't worry, we'll be fine." Chisholm smiled through the calls. She updated him on everything: her work, her siblings, his mother's health, and how much she missed him. Every time his name popped up on her screen, her heart still fluttered. But then the calls became less frequent. One missed day turned into 2, then 5, then a week. She sent messages, long, heartfelt ones. She called endlessly. Sometimes it rang and went unanswered. Other times it went straight to voicemail. She convinced herself it was the time difference. Or maybe he was busy with work, or tired. But something was changing. 2 months later, Chisholm's body began to change. At first, she thought it was stress. Then came the nausea, missed periods, and eventual confirmation at the clinic. She was pregnant. Her hands trembled as she typed the message. "Baby, I went to the hospital today. I'm pregnant. I don't even know how to feel. Please call me. I need to hear your voice." She waited. Minutes turned to hours. Then she tried to call. Blocked. On WhatsApp, Instagram, iMessage, everywhere. At first, she thought it was a mistake. Maybe he lost his phone. Maybe there was an issue with his line. But deep down, she knew. She had been used. The days that followed were dark. Chisholm began to live like a ghost. She went to work in silence, avoided eye contact with her colleagues, and barely responded to her siblings. Her usual radiant beauty dimmed. She stopped wearing makeup. Her phone stayed on silent. Food had no taste. The pregnancy grew, but so did her shame. Every time she looked in the mirror and saw her belly swelling, she didn't feel joy. She felt abandoned, mocked, betrayed. She avoided church, couldn't pray, and every message from her bank about the loan repayment felt like another stab in her heart. Her friend Grace and her younger sister tried to convince her to keep the baby, to find strength in motherhood, to see the child as a new beginning. But Chisholm was drowning. After weeks of inner torment, she made the hardest decision of her life. She walked into a private clinic downtown and signed the forms. She was going to terminate the pregnancy. But something went wrong. The procedure, rushed and unsafe, left her in severe pain. She was rushed to a government hospital 2 days later, bleeding heavily and burning with fever. After several tests, the doctor came into the room and sat beside her. "Miss Chisholm," he said gently, "we were able to save your life, but I'm afraid the damage to your uterus is extensive. The procedure wasn't done properly. I'm sorry, but you won't be able to conceive again." Her heart stopped. Tears didn't even come immediately. She just stared at the white ceiling, numb. That evening, as she laid in bed, she wanted to take her mind of things, and something compelled her to scroll on her phone. She checked Emeka's page. No recent posts. Out of curiosity, she clicked on Emmanuel's story, and her heart nearly stopped. There was a video of Emeka at a rooftop party, champagne in hand, dancing with a woman she didn't recognize. She was fair-skinned, dressed in a tight red gown, and laughing into his ear. His arm was wrapped around her waist. The caption read, "When you find love in a cold city." Tracker Toronto vibes. Her chest tightened. Still, she tried to stay calm. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe she's just a friend. But the next slide shattered any doubt. It was a picture of Emeka and the same woman, wearing matching white outfits, with the words, "Save the date, Emeka and Tasha. October 22nd, Toronto." Chisholm dropped her phone. Her legs trembled. Her vision blurred. The room spun around her like a storm. She grabbed her blanket for balance, trying to process what she had just seen. October 22nd? That's in 2 weeks. How? What is happening? She picked up her phone and dialed his number frantically, hoping for an answer and a miracle. But there was no answer. Again and again. By the end of the day, the wedding invite had been shared on multiple mutual friends' pages. Some people back home who didn't know her story even congratulated Emeka. Chisholm was humiliated, heartbroken, and numb. That night she cried until her lungs hurt. She screamed into her pillow, thinking of every single moment she had chosen him over herself. The jollof rice, the turkey, the groceries, the rent she helped him pay, the nights she stayed up praying for him, the loan. 8 million naira. All of it, gone, wasted, and worse of all, betrayed. The man she built her life around had used her like a stepping stone, and then tossed her away the moment he touched foreign soil. One afternoon, sitting alone by the window of her apartment, Chisholm took a pen and paper and wrote a letter she would never send. "Dear Emeka, you didn't just betray me, you broke me. You made me question my worth, my faith, my womanhood. But worse, you made me regret loving. And that I will never forgive. I cursed your name the day the doctor told me I'd never carry a child. That day, something inside me died, and I buried it with the baby. May every tear I cried become thunder in your ears. May my heartbreak be the shadow that follows you wherever you go. And may the womb you destroyed haunt you in the faces of every child you'll never deserve." She folded the paper and burned it by candlelight. That night, something inside her began to shift. Not healing, not yet, but the first flame of anger turning into clarity. She realized that being used wasn't her fault, but choosing to remain broken would be. At first, Emeka's life in Canada seemed picture perfect. New clothes, snow-covered selfies, smiling photos with his light-skinned Canadian wife. His Instagram stories were filled with trips to Niagara Falls, fancy dinners, and soft life captions. But behind the filters and fake smiles, things started to crumble. What Emeka didn't realize was, the West isn't magic and lies don't last forever. He first lost his job at a small logistics company after being accused of theft. One of the packages under his care went missing, and even though he denied involvement, the CCTV footage didn't lie. The company pressed charges, and although the case didn't go to court, he was blacklisted. Everywhere he applied, there were whispers. Wasn't this the Nigerian guy from 42 Logistics? No one wanted to take the risk. Meanwhile, at home, the cracks were showing. He and his wife argued every night. She accused him of being ungrateful, lazy, and only marrying her for papers. He shouted back that she was controlling and made him feel like a prisoner. But he had no power. He lived in her house, ate her food, drove her car. One night after a heated argument, she screamed at him from the top of the stairs. "You're nothing but a fraud, Emeka. Pack your things and get out of my house before I call immigration." She meant it. By morning, Emeka was standing outside with 2 suitcases and planning on going back to live with Emmanuel in the middle of a cold Canadian winter. For weeks, Emeka couch surfed. Then one night, after scrolling through old pictures on his phone, he came across a photo of Chisholm. She was smiling. That kind of genuine smile he hadn't seen in months. His heart ached. Something inside him, maybe guilt, maybe pride, made him type a message. "Hey Chisholm, I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I just want to say I'm sorry for everything. I know I messed up. If you ever feel like talking, I'm here." He sent it. 5 minutes passed. Then a response came through. One single laughing emoji, followed by, "Message failed to deliver. You can no longer contact this person." She had blocked him, just like he did to her. Emeka stared at his phone for a long time, numb. Everything he thought he gained, the better life, the marriage, the luxury, had vanished. And the woman who once loved him enough to risk everything, she was now a ghost. And he was the one haunted.